So we have the orange candle burning in the back, and we have clarity with my cupboard, my kitchen cupboard door with the pyramid. We want clarity. What do we want clarity on? And there's confirmation. We want clarity on everything. Randomly at the bottom, we're going to use the light seers and the Rider-Waite. This is the light seers. We have 6 of Wands. She looks pretty victorious there. She's shining in the light. The lights are upon her. Yeah, we want clarity. We want clarity on everything. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to move this stuff back. I'm going to shuffle the cards. And we're going to do a little bit different. We're going to pick some cards with the light seer, and then we're going to clarify with the Rider-Waite because it's about clarity. So I thought we would do some clarification today. So we're going to kind of do it like the other people do it. The card that fell on the floor here is the 6 of Swords. So we're moving forward. We're moving into a different chapter, a different assignment. Everybody knows that. Astro last night said they want to know if you know who you are. And if you don't know who you are, and what I mean by that is your superpowers that are being enhanced, who you were in past lives. If you don't know any of that, you still need to go deeper and figure that out. That's really going to help because the Moon card was under that. And they want to keep you stuck in the matrix. They want to keep you dumbed down. And we need to get undumbed down. We need to come up out of that water there, see? And we need to move forward with the 6 of Swords. Come out of the water and get on the boat, see? If you can see the cards, you got to come up out of the water into the boat. And the birdies are right there. They're telling you. They'll help you. Okay? Now, we're going to take and we're going to clarify them cards with the Light Seer deck. We're going to do it a little bit differently today. Randomly at the bottom of this deck is the Knight of Pentacles. So he is out of the water. He is on dry land now. And he is on his horse riding to his abundance. So we've already made a lot of progress in 3 cards. But some of you still don't know who you are. Yeah, Astro last night was very specific on that for me to tell you that if you still don't know who you are, if I asked you, who were you in the Bible? Who were you in the life of this year? 14, 15, who were you? Who were you in the 1700s? Questions like that, would you be able to answer them? Okay. So we're going to go ahead. The Moon card, why is it here? Because of the 4 of Wands. Because you want your victory. You want to be in front of the castle with your arms up. Not underneath the water, drowning. The illusions from the Matrix can keep us dumbed down, where we don't know who we are, what we are, where we're going. The land of confusion, the grand illusion. We want to get up out of the water, the 6 of Swords. We had the Knight of Pentacles, 4 of Wands. Okay? And hi everybody on the live. I'm not watching the live, I'm doing my reading here. 6 of Swords is here because of the 3 of Cups. You want to celebrate. So in order for you to celebrate, you got to get in the boat and get moving, and then you can celebrate. But if you've noticed, all these cards were about celebration. And the only way you're going to be able to celebrate is if you have clarity. So I highly suggest you get a regression, or you really get in touch with your higher self and believe your higher self and know that what you're feeling is correct. Okay? Now we're going to go ahead, and that's where we have the Two of Swords energy coming in, that you're at a decision to make. Do I want to quit my matrix job and do this spiritual stuff, or do I want to stay in the matrix? Do I want to spend my money on a regression and find out who I am and go down that rabbit hole, or do I want to just buy another part for my car, or another football game, a feast for the football game? See, it's like, it's really a Two of Swords energy. Because right now, how many of you spent the weekend watching sports? How many of you spent the weekend figuring out who you were? Maybe doing a regression, maybe doing some highly spiritual things. You can look back on your weekend, your last few days, and you can tell me what you did, and that will tell you exactly where you're at. Are you stuck in the matrix and the grand illusion, or are you out of the matrix, celebrating and going for this Two of Swords energy? The other thing the Astro wanted me to tell you was there's an energy floating around right now that is, those who were laughing are crying now. Okay, so the energy is one of regret, remorse. We lost. Like, if you've watched football, which I do not anymore, but if you are still into football, you know that one team wins and one team loses. One team's happy and celebrating at the end, and another celebration card, Three of Cups, right? And then we have the ones that are sad and drowning because they lost. Well, that's the kind of energy that's going on right now. It's an energy of, oh my goodness, we really had it wrong. Their laughter is turned into crying. So hopefully you're not one of them, but it's only going to get worse for them. It's only going to get worse. So again, I don't want to keep preaching on getting a regression and finding out who you are, but that's really this last chapter. This last chapter is really, really figuring out who you were. If you were sitting here right now, we could talk and I could tell you who I was. I could tell you all my different lives. I know all that stuff. And so many of you are still dumbed down and you don't know that stuff. Why is it important? Oh, it's so important because we're moving into this last chapter where most of us are not coming back. And that's all part of this Astro School, is learning who we were, what we are, getting rid of being dumbed down, unplugging from the matrix, finding out our next soul purpose, finishing out our soul contract. That's that Two of Swords I just left you with. Okay? It's really, you're here listening to me, so I know you want to go the right way, the spiritual way. But it's that Ace of Wands energy where it's in and out, in and out. Page of Cups. You're still too pagey, yeah. Page of Cups. You have that cup in your hand, but you're a little kid yet. So we got to move forward. We got to move forward with more, I want to be a knight. I want to be a king. I want to be an emperor mode, okay? So underneath the Page of Cups is the Ace of Swords. So that was all truth that I just said. That's St. Michael's Sword of Truth. He's like these birds. He's here to help you. but you have to want him to help you. You have to want to leave the matrix and not drowned anymore. You want these celebrations, the Four of Wands and the Three of Cups. You have to want all this. But I guess the reason I'm talking so much about it is because that's where the warning comes in. That's where it comes in, where I say, this is what's going wrong in your life. You're too wishy-washy. You're at that crossroads where you have the Two of Swords. But you're like not, you're definitely taking time to make this decision, like St. Michael said last week. Okay, that's a fact. Okay, so we've got the Seven of Wands. There is victory. Whichever way you go, there is victory, but I'm hoping you're going to go the right way. You're going to have strength. That's coming up every single day. 11:11 was just on the clock. That's where your problem lies too. On this card, it's not a red dragon. It looks like it's a red lion. But that's where you're lacking in. You're kind of still a chicken shit. You're still kind of scared. And that was underneath the Page of Cups. So that's just telling me that you're still in your page mode. And that was just what I had said. Underneath St. Michael's Sword of Truth is definitely, this is your destiny. I'm not making this up. You're just too pagey. You guys got to put on your big girl pants, big boy pants, okay? And there is a little bit of urgency here because this is work. This is a job, Seven of Wands. This ain't playland. And underneath that is the King of Pentacles. So we want to become more stable. We want to become more abundant. We want to move forward and become that King of Pentacles that was in yesterday's reading. Yesterday's reading was really good, wasn't it? Okay, we're going to go ahead and shuffle up these Light Seer cards again, and I'm just going to do one more quick reading because I'm not getting a whole lot except for some of you just aren't doing what you're supposed to be doing. The ones of you that are doing what you're supposed to be doing, awesome. They're laughing, you're laughing, and they're crying, okay? So the ones of you that are doing what you're supposed to be doing, you know who you are, you're ready to rock, you're just waiting for this shit to happen so that you can move forward. Good, okay? But you got to remember that I'm talking to a lot of people here, and I'm just trying to explain the energy. I'm not your fortune teller. I'm just explaining the energy and reading some cards. So the energy says that they're crying and you're laughing, but you still have a ways to go if you're still in that page energy. So let's just pull a bunch of cards here and wrap it up. Because as I said, Astro was just saying, if you could ask them who they were, can they tell you? Can they sit down and do what you're doing and tell you all these different lives and all these different things? Is their DNA activating them? Or are they like one big closed third eye? And if you're watching me on this video, I highly doubt you're one big closed third eye. You wouldn't even be watching this. So don't cut yourself down too much. Just take what I'm saying and find the parts of you that need sharpening and sharpen them. Okay? So let's do a quick reading here. We got the overall outcome is the sun. And I do have the sun candle burning in the background. You can see it right there. And I've got the incense burning. It's a very favorable outcome. And underneath the sun is the Eight of Swords. Nope, eight. I called it an Eight of Swords. It's an Eight of Wands. So what I'm feeling here by me saying the Eight of Swords is that there's communication coming in, but it's like the internet's down. It's stuck. So like if you had a letter and you mailed it, it got lost in the mail. If you're using your internet and you're sending an email, your computer crashed, right? It's a stuck communication. Now we got to remember that there's a favorable outcome, but it's just taking longer than it needed. Okay? And then we have, this is good because we have the Four of Cups in reverse, and we've been getting it in the upright forever. So that means there's been a transfer. Last night in Astro, you did something to make yourself see what I'm saying. Okay, I say that a lot, but you're starting to see what I'm saying. See how she's sitting there like this? Well, now she's not. She's upside down. So the Four of Cups, you're no longer not seeing, is what I'm getting from that card. And then I've got, because you did go within the Hermit, you did go in and say, okay, I want this favorable outcome. The communication that was stuck is going to get unstuck because I'm going to make that regression call. I'm going to go down that rabbit hole. I'm going to quit being a page and I'm going to be a king. I'm going to be a knight and then a king, right? So you went inside and you are doing some work. And that's why I keep saying, if you're watching this video, don't be too hard on yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself because you are doing something right. Okay? So the Hermit, you went within. And the King of Cups in reverse, all I'm getting there is that there's not enough love. Again, it's back to that Page of Cups with that one cup in his hand. And I said that's really not enough. If you're going to give water to a whole army, one cup is not enough, right? So you're too pagey yet. You're too thinking only inside the box too much. You're still too much in the matrix. So that's what I'm hearing here with the King of Cups in reverse. And then we've got the Queen of Swords in reverse. And what I'm getting here is, again, you see how her hand was like this on this picture and this picture? Well, that's good because now that they're both in reverse, what I'm getting is that you know where to go. You're done thinking about it. You're done contemplating it. Now you just have to put it into action. And the Page does put it into action. The Page is the childlike, I'm going to get this done mode. But now we have to get into the Knight, get on our motorcycle and ride. We have to get into our Knight mode. Okay? So we've got the Seven of Wands again. So now it's starting to repeat itself because that's the Victory card. Okay? Now on this one, I'm drawn to the bubble again. See the bubble around her? You're safe and protected, but we got to get out of the bubble now. Go ahead and put a little prick in there, pop, and come on out of your crystal ball. You see how she's sitting there? She's in meditation. She's done contemplating now. These were in reverse, so they're no longer sitting there going, what should I do now? Now it's time to pop that bubble and get out, get the communication unstuck. Get the King of Cups in upright because there's a favorable outcome. Okay, so since that repeated itself, I'm going to end it there because that's a good place to end it. Okay, we figured it out. We're done sitting like this. Now we need to get up, pull up our big girl, big boy pants, and get moving. Figuring out who we are so that we can help others. Your DNA gets activated more and more as you figure this out because it's kind of like your reward. So, all right. Thank you guys for listening. I am Miss Mystic.